Hi, and welcome to this short presentation and demonstration of the Perspectium DataSync product. DataSync helps organizations connect their ServiceNow and Salesforce environments to external data repositories for reporting, analytics, business intelligence, and more. If you need to securely replicate ServiceNow or Salesforce data, you want to do it without impacting performance or forcing people to work with old data. And of course, there are many reasons why you might want to replicate that data in the first place. But whatever the reason, moving data often presents challenges that you're going to need to consider. You might need to move ridiculously large volumes of data. It may be that you need to move the data in real time or in batch transfers. The data might need to be transformed at the same time that it's replicated. Maybe some elements of the data need to be obfuscated or removed altogether. You probably need to move the data securely, maybe without sharing credentials. You need assurance that the expected data replication actually occurred. You certainly don't want to impact application performance or user experience. Any schema changes shouldn't impact the availability of your data. And you want your integration to be highly available, even throughout network outages. And a solution that addresses all of those challenges is DataSync from Perspectium, getting ServiceNow and Salesforce data to where it's needed in your organization. Some of the features of DataSync include the ability to have real-time or batch data transfers, scalability, we have customers moving tens of millions of transactions every day, minimal performance impact due to the fact that we use a native tool within ServiceNow or Salesforce, a solution that's delivered as a service, so there's nothing for you to build or manage, our ability to transform data in flight to convert it to the right format, remove it or obfuscate it if we need to, high availability, even network outages won't stop us due to our store and forward approach with data, and the ability to configure within ServiceNow or Salesforce, so there are no new tools for you to learn. Let's take a look at DataSync.
The Perspectium DataSync solution is a cloud-based solution that connects ServiceNow to a local or cloud-based data repository, where you can report off of the data using a common tool like Power BI or Tableau. This data can be the typical tables you see in ServiceNow, like incident, change, or user data, or it could also be custom tables that were created from a scoped application. So let's begin by looking at exactly what the Perspectium DataSync products do. We will create an incident in ServiceNow and share it to a local MySQL database. We'll use MySQL for this demonstration. However, a customer can use Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, SAP HANA, or many other database flavors. So to begin with, I've logged into ServiceNow, and let's just go create an incident. So I'm going to type in incident into the filter navigator. We'll create new. We'll select the required fields and populate them. Abraham Lincoln is the caller. Short description is we have a protocol droid that needs a language update, and we'll just add soon to that. So I've entered the required fields. I can go ahead and hit submit. And what Perspectium is doing at this point is packaging up that XML record, encrypting it, and sending it through its integration mesh. So if I go to a query editor, you notice that I already had one case where the protocol droid needed a language update. And so that's why I added the soon on the end of the last one. And if I run this query, I do see that incident has come over to the database. So virtually real-time integration from ServiceNow to a local database. The DataSync tool has two core functionalities. It can sync the incident over and then update that row every time a change is made on the incident. Or it can do what we're calling the temporal data sync. And every time the incident is updated, it creates a new row with a valid from and a valid to timestamp that shows how long it was in that state, or that category, or that priority, or whatever the field may be. I can go back into the incident. Let's change the state to in progress. And let's just throw a comment in there, received incident will begin work, and we can go ahead and update that. Now, as I go back to my query editor, I can run the query, hit refresh, and you'll see that that incident has now been moved over here. We've created a new row to show that it's now in progress with a set of valid timestamps with that. So this enables me to go ahead and begin to write Tableau reports on this. If I go to data source, let's just do a quick data refresh, update now, and let's click on our basic report of raw data. And you now see that there is this protocol droid needs language update soon. That's been synced over. I can begin to report off of this. I can set up dashboards where I can do unique things like track the number of incidents per department, show employee hierarchy, or map it according to location. Let's go look at a few of the settings that are in ServiceNow that make this possible. The first thing I'd like to show you is a couple of key ingredients that make this possible in the Properties tab. If I scroll down to Replicator, click on Properties, there's two things that I want to point out here. I can enable the Replicator to add a display value for the fields that are brought over. So the caller ID, when it is brought over, I don't just see the sys ID, it'll bring over a DV_caller ID, which is the caller's display name. I can also set up an encryption key, which will be used to encrypt the data in AES 256 prior to it leaving ServiceNow. And then on the endpoint, which would be our local database, it would be decrypted prior to being inserted into MySQL. We can also set up shared queues. So the concept behind a shared queue is this tells Perspectium where to send the data. I could set up multiple shared queues to send it to multiple places, one for a database, one for a ServiceNow instance, maybe one to eBond with Salesforce or another product. I can also set up a dynamic share, and we'll walk through some of the settings there. As I open the incident dynamic share, you can see that I've given it a unique name that's meaningful to me as an administrator. I've selected the table. And if we go to trigger conditions, you can see that I've set it to share data out when it's created or when it's updated. I can also include journal fields or audit logs or related records. Here's where we select the target queue that we want this to share data out to under these conditions. I can also filter the data. If I only wanted to share certain fields, I could select that here. Or if I only wanted to share updated fields, that's also an option. The condition builder is like what you're used to seeing in the other native ServiceNow functionality. I can select any variable on the incident form and use that as a filter of when to send the data. Assignment group might be useful, assign to, state, any of those would be available. Under advanced, I can select data obfuscation if GDPR is a concern or you just want to limit the amount of personal data that's being sent to your database, you can select that here. Let's go ahead and set this up so that it encrypts all of the caller ID data. And so we're going to select field, and for the field, we're going to go to caller ID. And I can obfuscate throughout the entire record so that if that name shows up in the description or short description, it would obfuscate it. I can also select to choose to obfuscate with a character or a statement. I'll select statement, and we can say name obfuscated. And let's go ahead and submit that. So now when I go to an incident, and let's edit this existing one here, and let's just change the status to on hold, give it a hold reason. And hit update. We can go back to our query editor and run this select statement again. We can see that the name has been obfuscated with the values that I put in the replacement string. This is some of the basic functionality in Perspectium's DataSync product.
Some customers using DataSync include ServiceNow themselves and Accenture. ServiceNow integrate more than 13 million CRM transactions every day from multiple ServiceNow production instances into their big data environment running SAP HANA and Hadoop. Accenture were looking for a way that they could have a unified, repeatable approach for reporting for their service provider business. They are now replicating 2 million records every day and are offering real-time reporting of over 100 million records every month. Of course, when you choose DataSync, though, it's much more than just a product. In fact, we provide consultation, implementation, and project management to make sure that you're successful. Thanks for taking the time to check out DataSync from Perspectium. For more information, please reach out to your Perspectium account manager.